Good afternoon, everyone. We are the Group 1, and today we're going to tackle the lesson 1 of the chapter 2, which is the physical and sexual self. Alright, but before that, let me first introduce myself. My name is Ariza Raysalguan, and I'll be the one to discuss to you the objectives of this lesson and the introduction of this topic. Okay? At the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss the developmental aspect of the reproductive system. Ano ba yung mga development na nangyayari sa ating reproductive system? And describe the erogenous zones of our body. Ano ba yung erogenous zones ng ating body? So mamaya, we will be able to know or define what erogenous zones are. Okay? Explain human sexual behavior. So, bilang tao, we have our different, each people has different sexual behavior. Kumbaga, kasi, ang tao naman, iba't iba ang behavior, di ba? And we're going to characterize, ito nga, yung sinasabi kong iba-iba, pagkakaiba-iba. We're going to characterize the diversity of the sexual behavior. Pag sinabi nating diversity, again, ito yung pagkakaiba-iba ng sexual behavior. So, hindi naman lahat ng tao ay pare-parehas ng behavior when it comes to sexual aspect. And we will be able to describe the sexually transmitted diseases. So, nowadays, napakadami ng infections, ng viruses na kumakalat globally. Okay? So, later on, we're going to dig deeper. Ano ba yung mga different types or ano ba yung iba't ibang STD na tinatawag. Okay? Malalaman natin or ma-identify natin ano ba yung pinagkaiba-iba nila. Okay? And we will also know paano ba siya natatransmit? Is it being transmitted through sexual intercourse or is it just being transmitted sa pakikisalamuha? Alright, and lastly, differentiate natural and artificial methods of contraception. So, tayo, nasa modernong panahon na tayo, ngayon, napakadami ng contraceptives na imbento. So, ang example ng natural method na ating kilala is the calendar method. And yung mga artificial methods na contraceptives ay yung mga condoms, right? Saka yung mga oral contraceptives like the pills. So, mamaya, malalaman natin ano-ano pa ba yung iba't ibang uri ng natural methods and artificial methods. Okay, so let's now proceed to the introduction. It has been believed that the sex chromosomes of humans define the sex, whether it's a female or male, and their secondary sexual characteristics. From childhood, we are controlled by our genetic makeup. So, nung mga bata tayo, we are being taught on how to act like a male. We are being taught on how to act like a female. We are being dressed. Depending on our sexual characteristics, right? It influences the way we treat ourselves and others. However, there are individuals who do not accept their innate sexual characteristics and they tend to change their sexual organs through medications. A lot of people nowadays, they tend to change their sexual genitalia, their sexual characteristics by undergoing some surgeries, right? And because they luckily accept of what they have. But it's okay nowadays kasi nga it is how they accept, it is how they better know themselves, right? And Also, yung environment natin kasi ngayon, it may also affect the acceptance of the individual regarding his or her sexual characteristic. Next is, this lesson helps us better understand ourselves through discussion on the development of our sexual characteristics and behavior. So, with the help of this lesson, madedetermine natin ano ba yung development ng ating reproductive organs, ng ating sexual characteristics, and ano-ano ba yung ating behavior. Okay? According to Merrieb E.N. of 2001, he explains that the gonads begin to form until about the 8th week of embryonic development. So, ano ba yung tinatawag nating gonads? These are the reproductive glands that produce the gametes, which are the testes and the ovary. So, at the 8th week of the embryonic development, the gonads start to develop. Either it is either ovary or testes. Okay? And during the early stages of human development, the embryonic reproductive structures of males and females are alike and said to be in the indifferent stage. So, dun sa early stage daw ng human development, yung reproductive structure ng babae at lalaki ay magkapareho. Pero kapag na form na siya or siya ay na-develop na, doon na magkakaroon ng pagkakaiba. Okay? So, when the primary reproductive structures are formed, development of the accessory structures and external genitalia begins. Okay? So, kapag yung reproductive structures natin ay na-form na, okay? Yung kasunod na doon yung pag-develop naman ng ating external genitalia. Ano ba yung external genitalia? Pag female, vagina. Pag male, penis. Okay? Okay. So, the formation of the male or female structures depends on the presence of testosterone. So, ano nga ba yung testosterone? We'll be able to define whether it's a female or male kapag merong present na testosterone. So, yun nga, malalaman natin kung babae ba or lalaki bang, pang babae ba o panlalaki dahil sa testosterone. Let's say, for example, kapag dun sa lalaki, nagpo-form yung testes, si testes, magre-release yan ng testosterone. And then, magsasabi doon sa duct system ay may present tong testosterone, so ibig sabihin, panglalaking genitalia yung ifo-form ng katawan natin. But kapag sa babae, yung ovary magpo-form yan, di ba? Yung ovary magpo-form and then wala siyang mapoproduce na testosterone. So, madedetect nung duct system na walang present na testosterone. Ibig sabihin, ang ma-form is pang babaeng genitalia. Okay? Any intervention with a normal pattern if sex hormone production in the embryo results in strange abnormalities. For instance, a genetic male develops the female accessory structures and external genitalia if the embryonic testes fail to produce testosterone. And if a genetic female is exposed to testosterone, as if in the case of mother with androgen-producing tumor of her adrenal gland, the embryo has ovaries but may develop male accessory ducts and glands, as well as a male reproductive organ and an empty scrotum. So, dito, papasok yung dalawang uri ng abnormalities. Okay? Okay, so, meron nga tayong tinatawag na dalawang abnormalities. The first one is the pseudohermaphrodites. So, these pseudohermaphrodites are formed who are individuals having accessory reproductive structures that do not match their gonads. Okay? So, ito yung mga tao na, kumbaga, yung kanilang reproductive structure is pang male, pero yung nabuo sa kanilang, na-form sa kanilang external genitalia is pang female. Pwede namang pang female yung kanilang reproductive structure or yung kanilang reproductive organ, but then yung kanilang external genitalia is pang male. Okay? Parang bang nagkabaliktad. Ganon. Nagkaroon ng abnormality during the development. Next is the true hermaphrodites. So, this true hermaphrodites is considered, this condition is very rare. Okay? So, these are the individuals who possess both ovarian and testicular tissues. What does it mean? So, kapag ikaw ay may ganitong abnormality, meron kang parehas na ovaryo or meron kang parehas na external genitalia ng pang female and ng pang male. Okay? Panoorin niyo yung yung na-feature sa KMJS. Meron doon, babae siya. Okay, babae siya. But then, she has two external genitalia na hindi siya fully developed. But then, na-determine yung kanyang sexual characteristic through her sex chromosome. Kasi mas lamang yung pang female chromosome niya kesa dun sa pang male chromosome. So, dito sa true hermaphrodites, kalimitan yung dalawang external genitalia mo are not fully developed, but then na-determine yung iyong sexuality because of your sex chromosomes. A critical event for the development of the reproductive organs takes place about 1 month before birth. So, 1 month bago ka ipanganak, doon nagkakaroon ng critical event sa development ng iyong reproductive organs. So, kapag doon sa doon sa time na yon, yung male testes formed in the abdominal cavity at approximately same location as female ovaries descend to enter the scrotum. But kapag nagkaroon ng abnormality, yung pag-enter ng scrotum or pag-enter ng testes dun sa scrotum, dyan papasok yung cryptorchidism. So, this cryptorchidism is usually occurs in young males and causes sterility. Paano ba pag sinabi nating sterility? Yun yung, it is also a risk factor for cancer of the testes. Kapag sterile yung lalaki, ibig sabihin, there is a big possibility that he will not have, or that yung kanyang semen is hindi siya active. Kumbaga, malaking possibility na hindi siya magkaanak. Okay? And dito sa abnormality na to, hindi bababa si testes doon sa scrotum or doon sa kanyang lalagyan. So, para bang, di ba, dalawa. Yung isa, parang hindi siya tumuloy sa pagbaba. Yung isa, nandun, present doon sa scrotum. Yung isa empty, yung isa present. Next is abnormal separation of chromosomes during meiosis can lead to congenital defects of the reproductive system. So, for example, male who possess extra female sex chromosome have the normal male accessory structures, but atrophy of their testes causes them to be sterile. Okay? So, dito, meron tayong another abnormality na tinatawag. Okay? Okay, so, other abnormalities result when a child has only one chromosome or one sex chromosome. An XO female appears normal but lacks ovaries. YO male dies during development. And other much less serious conditions also affect males, primarily such as phimosis. Ano ba yung phimosis? This is a condition which is due to a narrowing of the foreskin of the male reproductive structures and misplaced urethral openings. So, itong phimosis, this is a condition wherein the foreskin is very tight or is too tight to be pulled back over the head of the penis. So, itong phimosis is very normal in babies and toddlers, but in older children, it may be the result of a skin condition that has caused scarring. Okay? It is not usually a problem unless it causes symptoms. Okay? So, paano ba na-fix yung phimosis? Unang-una is yung pag-undergo ng circumcision. Okay? Have surgery to partially or completely remove the foreskin. Or pwede din gumamit ng mga steroid cream to help stretch the foreskin. Okay? Yun yung mga paraan. Yung mga paraan kung paano ma-fix or yung treatment dun sa phimosis. Okay? Lastly is to continue to wait and see if the phimosis will go away on its own. Kasi meron yung iba, yung kanilang foreskin, yung parang bang nag-go away nila, parang nawawala over the time. Also, next is puberty. Puberty, it is the period of life, generally between ages 10 and 15, and when the reproductive organs grow to their adult size and become functional under influence of rising levels of gonadal hormones, which are the testosterone in the male and estrogen in the females. Doon nga, dito sa puberty, lahat naman tayo nakakaranas ng puberty, di ba? So, merong mga physical changes, merong mga reproductive structure changes sa ating mga sarili. And after this time, reproductive capability continues until old age in males and menopause in females. So, kapag sa babae, menopause, kapag dun sa lalaki, yung lalaki tumanda, parang yung nagkakaroon na ng, nagiging inactive na yung reproductive organs ng lalaki. In males, as they reach the age of 13, puberty is characterized by the increase in the size of the reproductive organs, followed by the appearance in the hair in the pubic area, axillary, and face. So, kapag nag-reach na dun sa 13 years old yung male, yung puberty present, okay? Present na yung puberty, and then nagkakaroon ng increase din sa size ng reproductive organ or ng external genitalia, followed by the growth of the pubic hair, appearance, or yung mga physical attributes pwede ding mabago. May mga changes din, like yung sa mga shoulders, nagiging mas malapad pa, yung mga muscles ng mga lalaki, mas matikas pa yung kanilang mga katawan dahil nga sa puberty stage. And then, dun sa face nila, they commonly have bigote and mga balbas. Okay? The reproductive organs continue to grow for 2 years until sexual maturation, marked by the presence of mature semen in the testes. In females, the budding of the breasts, usually occurring at the age of 11, signals their puberty stage. So, nag-i-start na yung puberty stage ng babae kapag tumangtong na sa edad na 11 or at the age of 11. So, yung breast, parang nagkakaroon ng increase, dun na nagkakaroon ng development sa breast ng babae. And the menarche is the first menstrual period of females, which happens 2 years at the start of the puberty. Okay? Hormones play an important role in the regulation of the ovulation and fertility of female. Okay. Kapag sinabi nating fertility, dito yung chance na yung babae is mabuntis. Okay? And dun sa ovulation, ito yung ovulation, ito yung process which the female reproductive organ release an egg from the ovary into the fallopian tube. And it typically happens about 13 to 15 days before the start of each period. Okay. So, the next topic will be discussed by Kim Francine. This is
Diseases associated with the reproductive system. Infection are the most common problems associated with the reproductive system in adults. Maraming mga diseases and infection pero pinaka-common palagi ay ang infection. Vaginal infections are more common in young and elderly women and in those whose resistance to diseases is low. Usual infections are caused by Escherichia coli, spread through digestive tract. Itong bakterya na ito ay karaniwang nabubuhay sa bituka ng malusog na tao at hayop. Sa karamihan ng case ng bakterya na ito ay hindi nakakapinsala. Madalas nakakatulong ito sa pagtunaw ng pagkain na iyong kinain. Subalit, ang ilang strain ng bakterya na ito ay maaaring magdulot ng sintomas kabilang ng pagtatae, pananakit ng tiyan, cramps at mababang antas ng lagnat. Syphilis, gonorrhea, herpes virus, and yeast fungi belongs to sexually transmitted organisms. Sexually transmitted organisms is an infection passed from one person to another person through sexual contact. An infection is when a bacteria, virus, or parasite enters and grows in or on your body. Vaginal infections that are left untreated may spread throughout the female reproductive tract and may cause pelvic inflammatory disease and sterility. Problems that involve painful or abnormal menses may be due to infection or hormone balance. In males, the most common inflammatory conditions are prostatitis, urethritis, and epididymitis, all of which may follow sexual contacts in which sexually transmitted disease, STD, microorganisms are transmitted. STD or sexually transmitted diseases are infection transmitted from an infected person to an infected person through sexual contact. Orchiditis, inflammatory of the testes, is rather uncommon but is serious because it can cause sterility. It most commonly follows mumps in an adult male. Ang orchitis ay pamamaga ng testes. Maaari rin itong kasangkot sa pamamaga o pananakit at madalas na infection. Neoplasms are a major threat to reproductive organs. An abnormal mass of tissue na nabubuo kapag ang mga cell ay nag-grow at nahahati ng higit sa dapat. Ang mga neoplasma ay maaaring benign or hindi cancer o malignant. Tumors of the breast and cervix are the most common reproductive cancers in adult females, and prostate cancer, a common sequel to prostatic hypertrophy, is a widespread problem in adult males. Menopause. It is an event that stops entirely the ovulation and menses, ending childbearing ability. It also occurs when the females no longer experience menstruation. Ito ang panahon sa buhay ng isang babae kung kailan humihinto ang kanyang regla. Natural itong nangyayari, kadalasan pagkatapos ng edad na 45. Nangyayari ang menopause dahil humihinto ang ovaryo ng babae sa paggawa ng mga hormone na estrogen at progesterone. Ang isang babae ay umabot na sa menopause kapag siya ay walang regla sa loob ng isang taon. Estrogen deficiency consequences. The reproductive organs and breast begin to atrophy or shrink. The vagina becomes dry, causes intercourse to become painful. Irritability and mood changes. Intense vasodilation of the skin's blood vessels. Gradual thinning of the skin and loss of bone mass. Slowly rising blood cholesterol levels. Estrogen deficiency consequences. Low estrogen levels can interfere with sexual development and sexual functions. They can also increase your risk for obesity, osteoporosis, and cardiovascular disease. There is no counterpart for menopause in males. Healthy men are still be able to father offspring well into their 80s and beyond. Erogenous zones refers to parts of the body that are primarily receptive and increase sexual arousal when touched in a sexual manner. Ito yung mga parte ng ating katawan na kapag hinawakan in a sexual manner ay mag-i-increase ang ating tinatawag na sexual arousal. Commonly known erogenous zones are mouth, breast, genitals, and anus. Some people may enjoy being touched in a certain area more than the other areas. Other common areas of the body that can be aroused easily may include neck, thighs, abdomen, and feet. Types of erogenous zone for female are breast or nipple, mouth or lips, inner thigh, lower abdomen, or public area. And some types of erogenous zone for male are the head of the penis, ears when someone sexually swirl his or her tongue in his ears, nipples, and neck.